Welcome, Board Squadron. I am your host, Board Leader, and today our question is to bean or not to bean. Our game episode today is Bohnanza by Amiibo Games for 3 to 7 players. Bohnanza is all about planting, trading, and harvesting. The more beans you harvest, the more bean dollars you get. The one with the most dollars at the end of the game wins. Bohnanza is maybe one of my top 10 card games to play. And it's really fun. I really enjoy it. I got this for Christmas, so thanks to my partner for getting me this game with the bonus expansion. I'm not sure where Bohnanza comes from, as I'm not much of a planter person, but I think there was a missed opportunity for Bohnanza here. But anyway, if this does come with the bonus expansion, I got this off Amazon. Well, we did, but still. Got this off Amazon, and what I like about this game is that you have bean cards in your hand, but the beans in your hand, you're not allowed to rearrange or sort them. You are stuck with the order that they are dealt. So you are having to trade others the beans that you can't plant or don't want to plant right away, because you're forced to harvest them afterwards if you have a full field. And that's what makes the game fun. So, for example, there are 10 of these black beans. 10 because of the number right here. And you need a certain amount to harvest for coins. You could harvest at any time, but if you don't have the right number, you don't get those coins. So for the black bean, you need 2 black beans to harvest for 1 coin. Then you get 2 coins, 3 coins, or 4 coins. All of them will be 1 coin, 2 coin, 3 coin, or 4 coins. But the number depends on what it tells you. So I will need 6 black beans to harvest to get 4 coins. I could harvest at 5, but then I would only get the 3 coins for this. The ones that have a lot of bean counters, you need more of them to plant for more. Cocoa bean. There's only 4 in the deck. So if you harvest really early with 2, you get 1. 3, you get 3. And all 4, you harvest all these coins. But what makes it cool is that the ones you harvest, let's say these were all the cocoa bean ones. The ones you do harvest go into your coin pile. The ones that you don't harvest go into the discard pile. So if I were to harvest this early at 2 coins, that means there are only 2 more left in the deck. So if someone wants to plant these, but they're trying to save up for the 4, they will never have it because I took the other 2 out. Let's get set up and show you how gameplay would work. So this is what setup would typically look like. We have our fields here. If you're playing with 3 players, you get this side. But if you're playing with 4 or more players, you turn it over so there's only 2 fields. So we have 3 fields set up here. I have the starting player token. Each player will have a reference sheet on what to do, or a reference turn card. And I set up for 2 other AI characters right now. So we were dealt our hand of 5 starting cards. The first card you can visibly see in full is your starting card. It'll be your first bean card. So here is how a typical gameplay will work. So my first phase, I have to plant the first bean card in your hand. It is a must. No matter what, it is a must. It is the first turn, and I have 3 empty fields. So I would plant my soybean in here. You are allowed to plant a second bean, but it is not a forced reaction. It is still part of the first phase. Since it would be pretty early and I would be first player, let's go ahead and do it. So my first phase, you must plant the first card, the first bean card in your hand, and you are allowed to plant the second. Your second phase, you're going to turn over 2 cards from the draw pile, and this is where the trading begins. So, I am given a soy and a blue bean. What happens is, these beans that are open for trading, I'm going to have to be stuck with them, unless I could trade them to other players. If, for some reason during this round, I was not able to trade off my blue bean or my soybean, the cards I am left with, I would have to plant. That's okay for my soybean since I'm already planting them, but I don't have a chili bean in my hand. So I would want to try to trade off the blue bean, So, I turn over 2 cards from the draw pile. I am allowed to trade anything from my hand or my field, but the beans I have planted are not tradable. Other players can only trade with the person whose turn it is. This person could not trade with this person because it is my turn. They could trade with me and I could trade with them. They have to wait until their own turns to trade with each other. Let's just say I did not want to trade this turn. They would go here horizontally. The third phase, I must plant all my traded and any turned over bean cards left. All other players, if they had traded me, would plant theirs. So during the fourth phase, before my turn is over, I draw 3 cards and add them to my hand. You'll notice I'm putting them to the left of my hand because the stink bean was the next visible card I would see, so it would be the next card I'm going to be stuck with. So I would not put them in front of me, as that would change up the order. They go to the back. And my turn would be over. Now it would be this person's turn, let's say. This person, for phase 1, would plant his first bean. He chooses to plant a second bean. Since it is the same, he plants it. You are not allowed to plant a third bean. If this were behind this one, you're forced to do the first and maybe the second if you choose. For his trading phase, a blue bean and a chili bean. He would decide what he wants to trade or wants to get rid of or keep. This person will trade for his chili bean since he has one coming up, and just to help this person, because you are helping each other, he will trade his stink bean. So what he would do, with his approval, he takes the stink bean out of his hand to trade with him for that chili bean that this player wanted. And then after they're done with their trading, it would be my turn to trade with this person. The blue bean would be something I need. So I would trade this person for their blue bean as well. Now I could see ahead of time that in a few turns, my third card is a blue bean. But if I can't get rid of these 2 cards, I have to plant and harvest something early, possibly for no points. I am allowed to make a second trade, and trade can go back and forth. The third phase, the first player and all other players plant their traded beans. Since this is his first one, he has to plant. And then his fourth phase, he gets 3 new cards added to his hand. For this person's turn, he does plant the soybean, and he will choose to plant the second bean. His second phase, he has a red bean and a garden bean. It's in this person's interest since he will have a red bean coming up. It does not matter if he wanted to trade his whole hand just for the one red bean. It is not 1 for 1. It is really just what you choose to trade. I don't want either of these, but not knowing what he has, I could say, hey, do you have a blue bean? This person would say yes. I would say, hey, I'll give you a chili bean for my hand for a blue bean. If he said yes, I get it from his hand, and he's still trying to trade these off as well. The only other rule with trading is you are not allowed to trade the beans you are already traded for the turn. He is not allowed to trade out this chili bean to this person for something. So his third phase would be over. So everyone plants their beans that they've traded. And he was like, hey, I'll help you out. I will take that red bean from you. So there would be less for him to deal with. So he has to plant this one, but he's not hurt. Now he draws 3 cards for his turn. And as you see, that actually will benefit him because he has garden beans now. For my turn, I have to plant my first one. So I have to harvest something. If I harvest this now, I only get 1 coin. This will give me nothing. I will harvest this. 2 coins give me 1. So I take this and turn it over for 1 coin, set aside, and all other cards go into the discard pile. I plant this one. I am allowed to plant a second one, so I will plant that blue bean. And now for my trading, I will have these. And play continues until you run out of the main deck a second time. If you're playing with 3 players. So after everyone's done planting and harvesting, the draw pile will get smaller and smaller. So when the deck runs out a second time, after the full turn is taken, that is the end of the game. If you're playing with 4 or more players, the game ends when the deck runs out a third time. And that is pretty much Bohnanza. Like I said, it is one of my favorite games. I enjoy playing this. Me and my boyfriend play this with a third AI player. With interest, we could get an actual game going just to show you more. So I can maybe have one more competitor with me in this game. Just so you can see how it works. It's really fun. But that is how gameplay goes. It is about thinking ahead as well, as you saw, because the beans in your hand are forced to stay unless you trade them early, so you get the beans that you do want. And there is a little bonus. The expansion has some wax beans and some cocoa beans, which is cool. But yeah, that is Bohnanza. There is another variant to the game as well, that when your turn is over for the 4th phase, instead of drawing 3 cards, everybody gets to draw 1. Starting with the turn player, he would draw 1 and every other player would draw 1. Instead of just drawing the 3 for the person whose turn it is. I've done that in my very first game, and let me tell you, sometimes my turn, I have to skip my first phase because I had already traded all the cards. So I would have to start with the second phase, which was the trading. And I was basically what they call top decking because of that. Because I could only rely on the top cards of the deck. I had no cards in my hand because I traded them. So that is another variant others like to play. My group of friends that I played with before I moved would play that version of the game where every player gets to draw 1. And especially with more players, like you're gonna have more turn, like a longer wait before your turn, before you even had a card in your hand. If you even did, because you don't even get them to your hand. You have to plant them. But I just thought I would mention that as well. Thank you for tuning in today, and may the dice be with you.